Good morning, this is MetLoop meteorologist Dave Elliott with your weather outlook for Thursday, March the 9th, 2017. Starting out with the radar and the satellite loop, we're seeing the country kind of split into thirds right now. If we start up here in the north, there's a frontal boundary that's stretching across the Great Lakes region, and then it kind of goes stationary across the northern plains and then out into the Pacific Northwest. Along that frontal boundary, we're seeing some really cold air back behind it, especially in the from about Minnesota up into New York, or excuse me, Maine, and then out into the west. We're seeing a lot of moisture streaming in off the Pacific Northwest, bringing in some rain and some snow showers, especially in the higher elevations of the Rockies. And then down in the southern portion of the country, we've got this frontal boundary that's laying across the Florida Peninsula and then stretching back into southern Texas and Mexico. Along that, we're seeing some cloudiness and some isolated shower activity through Florida, and then out into Texas, we're seeing a pretty good amount of cloud cover. In between those two fronts, we're looking at predominantly high pressure for the eastern two-thirds of the U.S., and we are watching a low pressure system that's starting to develop in the plain states. That's going to help change the weather a little bit for later on today and into tonight. And switching over to the current temperature map, you can see where that cold frontal boundary is laying up in the northern portions of the country. The temperatures behind it are very cold. We're seeing temperatures down into the 20s and teens, and even some isolated areas with single-digit temperatures. So a little blast of winter here in March for those areas. And then across the southern portions of the U.S., we're seeing warmer temperatures starting to return after that frontal boundary passed through, with the 70s down through central Florida and South Florida and then into southern Texas. Throughout the middle portions of the country, we're looking about average, maybe a little cooler than normal for this time of the year. And then on to today's outlook. Remember, I mentioned that frontal boundary that's laying across the northern portions of the U.S. Well, along that, we're going to see some snow shower activity in some spots today, particularly in the western two-thirds of Pennsylvania and eastern Ohio. We're looking for some pretty good snow showers through the day today as this cold, unstable air moves down from Canada and kicks up these snow showers. We're looking for anywhere from 3 to 4 inches in the red area here you see in Pennsylvania. And then again, kind of a continuation of what we've seen the last few days out in the northern Rockies. This moist air moves in off of the Pacific Ocean and hits these mountains, and then as it gets pushed up the mountains and it goes above the freezing level, we see some pretty heavy snow start to form. We're looking for spots with another 10 to 12 inches in the forecast for the day today, particularly up above around 6,000 to 7,000 feet in elevation. And then south of that cold frontal boundary, I mentioned that low pressure we're watching forming up in the plain states. Well, what's going to happen is that's going to develop and track eastward as the day wears on. And when it does, it's going to pull this frontal boundary and some of its cold air down behind it. And then that's going to once again meet up with the warm, moist air coming in up off the Gulf of Mexico and pushing up through the Mississippi River Valley area. As a result of that, we do expect to see a shot at some severe thunderstorms later on today, particularly late afternoon and into the evening. This yellow area outlines the highest risk we're going to see for some thunderstorm activity as this low tracks eastward. The primary threat with these storms is going to be some very strong thunderstorm wind gusts, some large hail, and a slight chance for some tornadic activity. So if you're anywhere in this area from western Tennessee back into eastern Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma, please keep an eye on the weather today, as you got a good chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms tonight. However, this entire green area you can see from West Texas all the way up into Ohio and then down into the central Gulf states, we'll be looking at a pretty good chance for some general thunderstorms a little later on today and into tonight. But the real focus for the severe is going to be this area right in here. And that's your outlook for the day today. Hope you have a great weather day wherever you are, and please be sure to follow MetLoop on Facebook and Twitter for all the latest and most accurate weather information.